I'm here on behalf of Christina Mraz, who couldn't be here today. She's got an amazing story to tell, and I'm going to do my best to tell it for her.
I'm an organizer, or lead organizer at Northside Action for Justice, which means that most importantly, I'm reaching out to people in the community through canvassing, through knocking on doors and making phone calls and going to other kinds of community meetings to talk about, the issues that people are already struggling with, that they're well aware of: affordable housing, living wage work, workers' rights issues, police accountability, education rights. There are a lot of things that all come together under the kind of the rubric of economic rights and community justice.
She sees a notice on the door from Wells Fargo Bank saying that that property was in foreclosure, and they told her she had 30 days to move out. And they offered her $500 to find a new place. Obviously not enough.
Yeah, so I have this ever-growing art area that started in the basement, and it's got all these bits and pieces. I used to have this really amazing art space in Minnesota. I had a warehouse space in northeast Minneapolis, but because, artists are the harbinger of gentrification and we destroy our own spaces, it became totally unaffordable, unfortunately, in particular for low-income families who lived around there. So that was all gone, and now I have all this stuff from there, and which includes my drafting table that I've had since I was 16 years old, and it's all taped up, as you can see. And I just have my stuff, like watercolor. I do a bit of that. Been working on this whole cephalopod thing, which I've become less interested in as I've noticed cephalopods everywhere. I'm not sure what the thing is, but maybe great minds think alike. So I feel like I'm constantly struggling against people as kind of an artist and an organizer, and kind of these shifting identities, and also the desire for people to have you sort of be one or the other, I think. And I'm trying to constantly sort of come to the table as both. So I'm gonna, thank you very much. I'm going to put a couple of these together then. And if people want to start making some other signs, I think that would be great too. Like, we've just got some poster board. I mean, I definitely want some signs that say Northside Action for Justice. But then, I think maybe we can talk about, there's some themes that we've been working with, like you got bailed out, we got sold out. There's a classic that, that's been a recurring theme in all of the rallies that we've been doing since Republic Windows, really. So that's good, and keep that continuity, I think, of all those struggles.
The printer seems to be acting up. For some reason it's saying online and offline. And
yeah. Did you unplug everything and restart?
I turned it off and on again, but that was it.
Sometimes, actually, if I restart the computer, shut down the printer, it's a real pain in the ass. But why did I ever want to become an organizer? Why did I think that I needed to leave a regular job where I was a rank and file union member, right? And that the activism and organizing I did was through that, but that I could also say, oh, I'm done working now. Like, the way that I work is not what I would want for any other worker. I would argue against it. I mean, the hours are ridiculous. Nobody should be working this many hours. And it is different. It's not just that it's not just work. I mean, and the way that we sell it to ourselves and to each other within these organizations is like, this is a cause, right? This is a passion. This is a way of life. But it is also a job. And there are times when it feels less like a job, and there are times when it feels exactly like a job, sitting at a computer and working on a database or doing something else that maybe you just don't want to be doing and you have to. And I also have not really figured that out yet, how to really reconcile having this thing that I want to identify with and I want to be identified with, but also having some reasonable expectations about that as a job with certain kinds of boundaries. It has no boundaries right now. It has no boundaries. So that's suffering, and that's really too bad, because what I really wanted to say, and that was an example of the lack of boundaries, because I really just wanted to talk about, my relationship with John. We have so much fun together, and I mean, he's just a really fun person. I mean, John, he he's one of my best friends. He's my husband, but I just really have a lot of fun with him. And he's a great person, and I respect him a lot. And I miss hanging out with him. And I feel like it's not fair, really, that things are like this right now. So I want to figure that out, because this is the kind of work I want to be doing, but not like this. It can't be like this all the time. It can be like this sometimes, but it can't be like this all the time. Because I want to be able to get back to, John and I making craft projects together in front of the TV, or, going places, going fishing together, traveling. Those things are like a fantasy right now. They seem so far removed from possibility. It's as if I really have convinced myself that I really am two people, and that when I'm out organizing, that there's this other Holly who's making some art somewhere and hanging out with John. So I've started to do this thing. Actually, it's kind of a gift for John, because he's got this thing about Lee Harvey Oswald, juxtaposing the light in the attic. I was also thinking about like the book depository. so that's kind of, so that's what started there. It's not finished. Because when I imagine all the different things that I want to do and I want us to do, I imagine that there's some space where that can happen, and right now there isn't. I think more and more about what kinds of things I could do so that I could be a working artist again, but having a job and feeling that I can take care of myself, John actually is a programmer. He makes pretty decent wage compared to a lot of workers. I imagine there could be some security that comes from that, but I never think about that, which is not to say that John thinks about it as his money in the way that I think my dad did, but that I still feel like I need to know that I can support myself. So I have these fantasies about doing other things too, but always thinking, all right, well, how are you gonna support yourself? It's a strange way of thinking, maybe, when you've been married, 3 years now. So my inclination is to say artist, and yet I have some reluctance about that, only because I have so much insecurity about the work that I do and my willingness to show it anymore or to complete things. But then again, the fact that is such a source of struggle and sometimes despair for me, I think says something about what that is in my life. One of the things, though, that I also think about a lot and have a strong feeling about is just feeling like, like a sister. This part of organizing and being an artist and everything in my life, like being supportive of other women, having really cultivating relationships with other women in my life and in work and other things that I do.
I think these are great.
I love the guns.
I love the guns.
I actually think that might be just as important a part of my life.
I think I'm proud of you for this brilliant idea.
You helped.
I made them. But.
I don't know. Is that true for every woman? You want to live a better life, for your mom and your grandma, I want to revalorize their lives. I want to have something really different and better, because they got a shit deal. A lot of women. And, some better, some worse, but they're amazing people who, have not been able to really fully develop themselves and experience the freedom that they should have. And so, yeah, struggle goes on. Mhm.